action. Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the CPS report. Today I'm doing another fight video. UFC 294, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkonovski. This Saturday, 21st of October, 8 p.m. South African time. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to start with the light to heavyweight featured bout. So I'm not going to cover the entire card. I'm going to cover the three last fights on the main card. Starting with Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Two household names of the division. We know Magomed Ankalaev's last fight against Jan Blachowicz was a draw. Regardless of that it was a draw, it was a good fight, good display from Ankalaev. He had good leg kicks, he had good control, good striking. Although there was moments where he got backed up, and one would argue that he might have lost that fight against Blachowicz. What I would say about that fight is that he gained a lot of experience and a lot of championship level experience, having going 5 rounds with Jan Blachowicz, and especially that tight. We know if you go through the fight history that he's cleaned out the division really, if you think about it, beating Santos, beating Ozemir, Krylov, you know, he just went through the list basically, and now drawing with a very close match with Blachowicz sets him up for a good fight here. If he beats Johnny Walker, I definitely think that Magomed Ankalaev is definitely setting himself up for a title fight. He's got a nice record, doesn't have as big of a record as opposed to Johnny Walker's, but looks similar in height, very similar in weight, very similar in reach. I do think Johnny Walker is a little bit more, I just want to say creative, he's a bit more entertaining to watch. However, he does lack a lot in his stamina. He does seem to gas out in the rounds. He hasn't fought 5 rounds. I think he's only gone for the 3-round fights predominantly of his career. So yeah, whereas Ankalaev did the 5 rounds, I think Ankalaev might just edge him with a bit more because a Champions level experience going up against a champion, and also he might just have a better wrestling pedigree with his combat sambo. Johnny Walker, he throws wild things, man. He throws wild hooks, wild straights. Doesn't generally throw a lot of high kicks. Very powerful hammer fists, got good ground and pound. His length is wonderful, but because he throws a lot of spinning things and he does all this wild creative stuff, he doesn't often have the ability, or I haven't seen him have the ability to control the space of a fight or to control the space of the octagon. He knows how to navigate the space. He doesn't show that. Whereas in Ankalaev does know how to manage distance. He does know how to control octagon space. He has a very good ability to grapple you from anywhere in the octagon, be it in the center or against the cage. That's basically his domain, and it's his opponent's worst nightmare. So my pick for this fight will most likely go to Magomed Ankalaev. However, it just takes one punch to knock someone out, and I think Johnny Walker does present a lot of power, and that may give him, you know, that one chance that he gets, he may get that chance to beat him by his knockout power. Moving on to the co-main event, middleweight bout between Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev. We know Khamzat Chimaev was scheduled to fight not Kamaru Usman. He was scheduled to fight. Who was he supposed to fight now that they are unable to make it? Doesn't matter. He's fighting Kamaru Usman now. That's who he's getting. And Kamaru, being the former welterweight champion, only took this fight if he was guaranteed a title shot if he wins. Now we know Khamzat had difficulty sticking to his particular weight class. He had difficulty making the weight in welterweight. I do think that middleweight is his natural weight. I think middleweight is where he's most comfortable, and he should stay in this weight division. Now that Israel Adesanya is not the champion, it does allow for Khamzat, along with Dricus and Sean Strickland and those guys, to run the division and have it be a bit more competitive. Usman coming up had beaten Sean Strickland in the past at welterweight. Will make it quite interesting for him to go up in this division and see what he does in middleweight division. Does Kamaru Usman beat Khamzat? I don't know. History has proven that fighters that take short notice fights often don't actually come out on top. They usually don't make it. So It's a very rare occasion that you see the fighter on short notice actually get the victory. Khamzat, we know he's dangerous. We know he's a powerful wrestler, powerful wrestler. We know that he can scrap. His fight with Gilbert Burns showed that when it came down to it and he needed to throw down some fists, he was able to do that. So that regard, I do think he's younger, he's fresher. You may have an edge over Kamaru Usman when it comes to just being able to keep the fight at a high level pace. Don't get me wrong, Kamaru Usman has the same ability. He's done it to almost all the fights we've watched him in. He's done that. He has the ability to stay active for a very long time, go 5 rounds and just don't get tired. However, he's 36 years old. He's approaching to the point of his career where one would say it's the back end, knowing that his long history with having injuries with his knees, so he doesn't wrestle that much. Makes it quite interesting to see where Kamaru will push this fight, especially because it's 3 rounds. Does he navigate? Does he stay standing? Does he keep the fight standing and wrestle in the 3rd round? There's so many strategies that he can deploy for this fight. Being the champion fighter, being in so much more fights than Khamzat, gives Kamaru Usman the advantage in terms of having seen many situations in a fight that perhaps Khamzat hasn't seen. That being said, very tough fight to pick. Very tough fight because it's difficult to bet against Kamaru Usman, and it's also very difficult to bet against Khamzat Chimaev. Both fighters present similar threats to one another. I think Khamzat has a little bit more of a reach advantage. He's a bit taller. Well, not reach, he's just a bit taller. I wonder if he would be able to use his length, throw more body kicks, attack Kamaru's legs, knowing that he has a bit weaker knees. But we also know that Kamaru's wrestling pedigree is fantastic and it's almost second to none in the welterweight division. We're not so sure about the middleweight division. So winner for this fight is a bit difficult to pick for me. Regardless of that, I do think that it's going to be a banger of a fight. I hope that Kamaru doesn't get smashed within like the 1st round or whatever, but I think we might see a good display of martial arts for 3 rounds. And if Kamaru chooses to wrestle, maybe stand up for round 1 and round 2 and chooses to wrestle in round 3, it's a good chance that he might steal the fight there. And hopefully that he keeps the aggression, or if he can outlast the storm of what Khamzat does in the 1st round, the high pressure, staying on your quick jabs, shoots. If Kamaru can navigate that and get through that in the 1st round, I think he has a chance of taking it through round 2 and 3. But let's see what happens there. Then we move on to the main event, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkonovski 2. As we know that Charles Oliveira was scheduled to fight Islam 2nd time, and unfortunately took an injury in training. Wishing him well, speedy recovery. I hope he comes back because he is the champion, the unnamed champion. Islam Makhachev versus Volkonovski 2. I rewatched the 1st fight early in the week and it was fairly close. Fairly close. I will say that it looked to me like Islam wasn't prepared for the strength that Volkonovski possesses. I think he underestimated that. He never really underestimated the wrestling side. I think Islam is always going to wrestle regardless of who he fights. That's his forte. He knows how he can get a win. He's most dominant. He's most dominant when he's on the ground. Although he didn't do anything with the grappling, he had I think 1 or 2 submission attempts. Volkonovski defended with ease. Islam did land really good strikes when they were standing. He, for some reason, showed a little bit better boxing. It looked like Volkonovski was trying to just finish him when it came to round 4 and 3. Attempted to just land harder blows, but didn't have good combinations. It's difficult for Volkonovski to get in, to cross the distance in that fight because he's shorter. And Volkonovski, Islam Makhachev is a big lightweight. He's a very tall lightweight and he's big for the division as well. However, that being said, Volkonovski has an uncanny ability to adjust on the fly, and his output, his volume is second to none in the in any division he fights in. You think about it, like lightweight and featherweight. Like this dude beat Max twice. So twice. So Volkonovski for me is probably and should still he is the pound for pound #1 in the UFC, and he should stay the pound for pound #1. Win or lose here, doesn't really taint his record or taint his name. He's going to be the champion in the featherweight division anyway. The first fight was so close, it was difficult to kind of pick the advantages and disadvantages for either fighter to see how they can navigate. For Islam, he didn't do anything wrong in that first fight, to be quite honest. He grappled when he needed to grapple, he controlled when he needed to control. When they were standing, he landed very good jabs and very good left hooks off the counter of Volkonovski's body shots. Islam would then land a left straight, which worked. Even when they got into wild exchanges, he dropped Volkonovski. So Volkonovski also clipped him a few times in that fight. It was just very, very even, very close fight. So that makes the second fight even more exciting to watch, because now it's like really who is going to play the checkmate, who's really going to just go a little extra mile and push to get that victory. Because yes, Islam won the first fight, but it was so close he could have given it to Volkanovski as well. And both of them have the ability to knock one another out. I'm not too sure if Volkanovski has the ability to submit Islam, but Volkanovski can wrestle and he can grapple really well. His ability to ground and pound is fantastic. I don't think you'll ever get that chance to really ground and pound Islam unless Islam is really rocked badly. So the fight's gonna go either way for me. What's different is that they're fighting in Dubai, Fight Island, and I think that's going to really make a little bit of a difference, because I don't think there's going to be anyone that's going to be supporting Volkanovski in the crowd. When they fought in Australia, yes, it was Volkanovski's backyard, but fight enthusiasts are always going to support good fighters, and I think Islam Makhachev, regardless of wherever he fights in the world, he's always going to have a support base because he's a phenomenal fighter. So yeah, I think for this fight, I'm not going to choose one. It's going to go down the middle for me. It all comes down to who gets to navigate the space the best. We'll be able to dictate where the fight's going to go. And we'll see the victory over there. So yeah, that's going to be this Saturday, 21st of October, 8 p.m. South African time. That's the time the main card is going to start. So tune in, it's going to be a banger of fights. So thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to see more fight content. I'll be doing this indefinitely. I'm excited to report about things that I love, and I think fight content is one of the things that I love. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. I love the support, and I'll see you guys next time.